Hello, I'm Ari, and today I have for you unboxing of the May Sketchbox. So, I've been really loving Sketchbox. Sketchbox is a monthly subscription for $35 for the premium, which this is the premium box, or $25 for the basic box. Both boxes offer a pretty similar experience, so you really can't go wrong at either price point. This box is a little higher price than most because on top of that $35, you are going to be paying $5 shipping. So that makes this $35 box a $40 box. And the $25 box becomes a $30 box. That said, if you get a longer subscription, you can get the box for roughly, somewhere between $30 and $34, I think, a month. So the longer subscriptions, if it's supplies you think you're going to use, then go for a longer subscription. But I advise you to try a couple before you jump into a long-term commitment on any subscription box. And also look at all their past boxes and figure out if they're a box that you would like the supplies month after month. The boxes I've let go, when I look back now, I can see that there were a lot of boxes I really wouldn't use the supplies. And so far, I'm happy with everything I've let go to keep Sketchbox and Art Snacks. So let's open this up and see what's inside. Again, my recommendations are, before you jump in, is to try a box out, either from their store or sign up for a 1-month box and try it out, see if it's something you want to have. And long term, how long do you really want to be getting supplies, and at what point would there be too many supplies? And the next question I'm asking myself, at what point do I want to say, I have enough art supplies and I don't really need a box? This box I'm subscribed to for 6 months, so in the fall I'll have to revisit whether I want to keep getting boxes. But I did the 6-month subscription, still not the 12. So I went from a 1-month, I think, to a 6-month. But these are the supplies I use over and over again. There's very few items from the Sketchbox that I haven't used again. So for me, they're a win, and I've really been loving the boxes lately. I think the only one I wasn't really thrilled about was the Spectrum Noir, but that was, I ended up with the basic box that month. And I think I would have been happier with the professional grade supplies. I think I tried the basic box for a couple months, and I thought when I renewed my subscription for the premium box, it would start right away, but it actually started the following month. So I got one more basic box, which all in all, it was okay because it was just colored pencils, but it would have been nice to try some of those premium. So I decided on the premium Sketchbox for my long-term subscription because it lowered the price and put it kind of in the price range of those other boxes. Otherwise, at the $40 point, I don't think it's worth it. So that's just my opinion. If 1 or 2 boxes at that price point, if you know what's in them or you really want to try this box, then who cares? But long term, I wouldn't want to pay $40 for this box. For me, a long-term subscription moved it down low enough that I felt okay going ahead and getting a subscription. So, enough said. Let's see what's in this one. So, the first thing out of the box is the watercolor canvas board. So, we kind of know which direction we're going in this month. Watercolors. So this is where I want you to go if you're thinking about this box, is www.getsketchbox.com/school. On that page, you will see videos comparing this box to the basic box. So there'll be 2 videos side by side for May comparing the premium box to the basic box. And you can see that, you know, both boxes are getting similar items. You can look at April, March, February, January, December, November on this school page to get comparisons at both levels. And again, this is one of the few boxes that have a couple levels and they're offering you a very similar experience. The only real difference is the premium box has more premium supplies, so you're getting like the professional grade paints in here. But it seems like they still offer at least one professional grade at the basic box. So you get a try at some at different levels. I think in both boxes. This box is definitely going to have your more premium supplies. If you want to see if you would like, or if you would have wanted to receive each of the boxes for the last 6 months, go to the school page and do some comparison shopping before you click on subscribe or before you click on purchasing a box, because that will give you the most information. If you know what tools you like using, you'll know whether a box whether Sketchbox is offering enough of those supplies that you'll want to stay subscribed for a long time. For me, the answer is yes. I've been using almost everything I've gotten from their boxes. So for me, it's a no-brainer. First thing out, I'm loving this. I purchased some of these Faber Castell Albrechter watercolor markers. This is in the warm gray, 272 by Faber Castell. We have the brush nib and a bullet nib, and these are watercolor. It's a pigment ink, and it's water soluble, maximum light fastness. So if it was a dye based, that's going to fade over time. Pigment, most of the time, will not fade as quickly. After we had some in our art snacks, and after trying them in that box, I purchased about 10 more. So I don't have this color, so that's pretty awesome. Next item out of the box is the leader. I actually just picked up, I believe, a 5 or 6 pack of these. Pico line 3. These are some that Heikela uses. Look at that tiny nib. They're made in Japan. They also have sketchbooks by this brand that I'm trying out. I have the Deleter sketchbook, kind of a textured paper. You can get those on Amazon. Takes a while to get them here from Japan, especially probably right now. But so the Deleter brand, line 3s. The next item out of the box is the Ecoline brush pen. This is just one end, it has the brush. This is in the reddish brown. It's a watercolor brush pen. I have, I think, 5 other ones to try out in that, so that's kind of cool. Then this is what I was waiting for. Daniel Smith has come out with pan watercolors. So we have the Daniel Smith Extra Fine Hand Poured Hansa Yellow Light. We have the Daniel Smith Extra Fine Watercolor in Ultra Marine Blue. So we can make some greens. And Daniel Smith Extra Fine Hand Poured Watercolor Extra Fine in Cascade Green. This is one of my favorite greens by Daniel Smith. I originally started buying a few greens of Daniel Smith paints to enhance my M. Graham palette and slowly built from there. And so I have several of their greens, and now I've been getting other colors. We get 3 Daniel Smith. We have the Ecoline watercolor brush and the Faber Castell Overture watercolor brush. And to round it out, we have one of my favorite brands of watercolor brushes, the Princeton. And it's not just Princeton, but it's the Princeton Aqua Elite. I first tried, if you wonder why I went with Art Snacks and Sketchbox, Art Snacks had Daniel Smith watercolors last summer and Aqua Elite number 8 brush. This is the number 2 Princeton Elite. It has kind of a really soft feel handle. I love how they come to a point and they stay in a nice point. They're just one of my favorite brushes. I first found them in an Art Snacks box. I've had some really bad boxes with Art Snacks. I've had some of my best boxes with Art Snacks. And so this is just like a really good repeat of the Daniel Smith Summer Box July Art Snacks. It's Princeton Elite and Daniel Smith paints. I couldn't ask for a better box. I would have preferred tubes, but again, a really great set. I think that's all that's in our box. Here's our art this month. Nikolai Shaver. He's at 56 Minor on Instagram. You can find more about him. He's working with Sketchbox now. So here's what's in our box. So I'm really thrilled already with this box. And again, what I like is all you would have to do now to be able to make almost any color of the rainbow and skin tones is pick up a Daniel Smith red. So basically, if you pick up a red, you have your 3 primaries and you could make anything. So besides this box, just picking up one more red watercolor, you could start your watercolor experience without having to invest in anything else for a while. I mean, this month we do have the red here. So we have red, yellow, and blue. We have our primaries. We also have a blue-green. This can separate out to a green and a turquoise together. This Cascade Green. I'm really excited because we have the shadows with the gray. We have our fine liner, fine liner is a fine liner. But let's swatch these out and then make some art with it because, yeah, I'm really happy with this box. So far, as I said, I am not sad about any of the boxes I've let go, which was Upcrate, Scrawler box, the Let's Make Art box, and the Palful pack. So far with all of those, Palful pack, there has not been one box I've been upset about not getting. Scrawler box, my subscription just ended. Their box this month for May, has the Faber Castell watercolor markers, but I already have those. Plus I received one in this box. So although I wish I would have got that box instead of like the pastels or the glitter, I guess I'm not sad to let that one go. I was at first because I really love the artwork and they are fun boxes. It's just they're not worth it here in the United States. By the time you pay for shipping, if it was between getting this and keeping that, I wanted this box. Upcrate, I did actually resubscribe. I have their watercolor box from February, but then March again was a marker box. And I don't think I have to go into that with you. I've wasted so much money on Upcrate that, yeah, I just won't do it anymore. Palful Packs has had pastels and alcohol type inks and paints, and they're just not anything that I am interested in painting with. And I can't say that whether Sketchbox will keep being stellar, but so far so good. And same with Art Snacks. The last few months with Art Snacks has been awesome. So overall, I'm really happy with the 2 choices. whether they'll stay. I was willing to go with a subscription for Sketchbox. And Art Snacks, I'm still on the fence. I want to, you know, the boxes have been amazing the last few months from Art Snacks. So I'm really thrilled about that. And I just saw a sneak peek at May's Art Snacks. So tune into that video because I'm excited about that one too. So you know what? So far, really happy with my two choices. But that said, those are my choices based on my art style and what I like. I look at what box is going to supply me with the most supplies that I will use. And Scarlet Box could, but it's just not, the price point just isn't there when you add on that shipping for the United States. It's still a fun box, and if, you know, no, I can't say that. Because for a few dollars more, I can get this one. And yeah, so it just ends up, if I could get that box at the cost that they're getting it in the UK without shipping, I would definitely continue with that box, but they don't. So here we are, and I'm really happy with this box. So let's go swatch it and do smart. All right, I just wanted to show you, these are not labeled at all. So I had to write Cascade Green with my Sharpie. So there's no numbers or anything on these pans. This one is stuck in its pan really well. The green and the blue are coming out. But the yellow one sounds a little loose actually, but this one came out as well. So that's interesting. I'm not sure why that is, but I just wanted to make sure to show you that before I wet them. I have distilled water I use now on my paints. At first, I was just using regular water, but then someone told me that, especially with handmade paints, you want to use distilled water. So then I thought, well, why wouldn't you use distilled water for all your paints? That way it kind of inhibits any mold. Or I shouldn't say inhibits. It lessens the likelihood of bacteria or mold in your water, thus hopefully keeping your paints clear. And I also forgot to go over so we have 3 Daniel Smith watercolor half pans. They retail at $9.75 each. It's a new item. So before you only could really purchase their paints in tubes, and then they started with the pan sets, and now we have individual pans. Jackson's, I know, sells them reasonably. Jackson's Art Supply may be a place you can find them. I'm not sure when the art stores open up if they will be carrying them. So that's almost a $30 value just in the paints. Remember, this box is $35 plus shipping. Unless you're doing a subscription, then it's less. So that's almost $30 right there. We have the Faber Castell watercolor brush pen at $6.50. I think I was able to get them for $4 on Blick. We have the Ecoline watercolor brush pen, retail value of $4.25. Princeton Aqua Elite size 2 round brush, retail is $12.75. I think you can get that cheaper. It's a staff favorite. It's one of my favorites, the Princeton Elite. We have the Neo Pico line 3 is $3.50, and the Frederick watercolor canvas board, retail price of $6.50. I don't plan to use that today. I guess I'm not big on watercolor canvases. I'll just scroll up. So I'm looking $30, $40, $50, maybe a $60 box with everything included for their retail price on this box. I'm guessing each thing you probably could get for $1 or $2 cheaper somewhere else. Dick Blick, Cheap Joe's, Jerry's Artorama, Jackson's. So remember, with these art subscription boxes, don't believe the retail price and think you're getting a great value. It's a great value if you get it at that price and you're getting this box for $35 and it's a $60 retail value. and that's what you're paying. But just know that that's probably not the price you could buy these supplies. And if you have coupons to Michael's or Joann's or Hobby Lobby, you can definitely get the supplies cheaper if they're available in your store in the area or online at one of the art stores. So yes, based on retail value, all of these boxes are probably a really good price. That said, we've had some art snacks, if you've watched my other unboxing videos, that were way undervalued. They were only like $17. But again, sometimes as long as it's not a regular thing in these boxes, that's okay, because they're putting together the boxes. Their company is coming up with the ideas, putting the boxes together and shipping them out to you. Most boxes pay shipping, so I take that in consideration. A box like this, if they're not paying shipping and I'm paying to get this to my house, it better be at least the value of the box. So, but just note too, this $9.75, that's almost a full tube of Daniel Smith paints, and you just have to have your own palette to put the paints in. And I think the tubes are better value because you can fill a pan a couple times out of a tube for roughly the same price. And the paint is just so much more smooth, or I don't know, and it re-wets wonderfully. If you've seen some of my other videos, I have the pink palette. Here it is. And then if you saw my art haul video, you saw the cleaner. Isn't that wonderful? Like every time I open it and see the difference, I'm really happy with that palette cleaner. But as you can see, I don't fill these up. I don't take my tube and just squish it in here and fill this up. One, it shows me which ones I use the most. I put one blob, but I guess the second time around or third time, I may put a bigger blob because I know I'm going through that color. I just put this, and then my other paint stays fresh in the tube. And if I end up with a muddy mess somewhere in here, I don't have to worry that I've ruined a whole tube of paint or a whole half tube of paint. And that's just how I do it. But Daniel Smith re-wet just so wonderfully. There's a couple colors that don't. That if I had to spend $9 on this or on a tube of Hansa Yellow, and the Hansa Yellow is the one that stains. See, Hansa Yellow right here. It really stains my palette, and so I'm very thankful for the Turner palette cleaner because that's amazing. So if you have to choose, I think tubes are definitely the way to go, getting more for my money. But it is nice that they offer this, because the one thing you can do is if you have like my Schminke. I have my Schminke set. Let's say, if you notice, I had some holes of where slowly filling in with my Schminke pans. So I can fit either a couple more full pans or a couple more half pans. But if I wanted to, I could add in this Cascade Green to enhance another palette. So that is really nice to have pans available, but remember, out of tubes you can make your own pans. Let's get to swatching. These have had some time. And I like to try my paints both wet and dry and see if they spread. It'll be interesting to see how this green performs. It is one of my favorite colors in the Daniel Smith line. So that one spreads right away. And I want to show you how this blue in here isn't from a different paint. This is how it kind of, so it's just one of those characteristics of this paint. And sometimes I have it show up in my work really well. And I'm just doing that because I just want to see the difference of the pan versus, because sometimes with pans, if you don't get it wet enough, you're not going to get, like, let's say it's a metallic paint, you're not, or kind of granulating, you're not going to get the best effort out of it if it's not thoroughly soaked. I feel like that was a much better swatch of that color. So these are all the pan. This one, see here how you're starting to get that blue popping through. We'll see if this one does that. But they're both the Cascade Green. So this one is out of my palette. Putting watercolor on paper, to me, there's like nothing better. See, within minutes, you can activate almost all the paint and have it not leave much of a line. You get some little lines. So with these Faber Castell Albrecht Dürer watercolor markers, you know, the sooner you remove or move around the pigment, the better. But we'll do this as a test to see if we can move it after a little bit. Hopefully I remember to do that for you. And this is my first ever swatch with these Ecoline markers. I bought a set of 5 primaries to try these out. I really like the tip on these. That's really nice. That maybe the red is a little bit more staining, but you definitely see that square underneath. That's why I chose the Albrecht Dürer for, they definitely lift more than all the other watercolor markers I try, and this one is no exception. So even though I can see a little bit of my line, it's nothing like this. And I'm rubbing just as hard. And in my watercolors, I don't like that line underneath. Let's test this one. As I kind of did that backwards. But. So the fine line didn't seem to smear right away. So definitely better to go in with the red first and add that over. Flip this over. This is how I use my markers. I am sure there are many more colors. There we go. Aqua is one of my favorite colors lately. Oh, these are nice. I usually try to leave my mixes to 2 or 3. This is what I advise you to do, is just this playing around with supplies will give you just endless possibilities for your paint. These are our main colors. And remember, this swatch is my pan paint, and I think both of these were my pan paints. Or not my pan paints, these were my tube paints here. If you remember, I used tube and tube paint for these 3 swatches out of this exact same color, just out of my palette, just to see if they, you know, like I get a little bit more blue here. I don't know if you can see that. There's just a little hint of that kind of teal blue where I'm not really getting that in the pan. So we'll see if the more we use that, whether there's a difference in the tube versus the pan. Here's a kind of close up. Oh, let's go back and wet those. So this is why I chose the Faber Castell. I can use the markers to delineate colors or shadows, and most of it, I mean, if you look here, you can barely see that the hashtag sign. Here, after a little while, it's a little bit more noticeable, but almost this whole square, but you can still, in the red, see that square. You can still see the hashtag. This still can be re-wetted, but you're not going to lose much of that first lines. And those still are picking up some of the black. So this splotch was putting the red down first and adding the blue paint directly into it. This was putting the blue paint and adding the red into it. And this one worked better. And again, here's our shade of colors, just using the supplies in this month's Sketchbox. This is my favorite part. It's just playing with the colors and seeing what I can do when I get boxes with paints, regardless of what paint it is. I love swatching, and although I wish my swatching was neater, it is what it is. But this is what I suggest you doing, is just playing. And we took this color both directions, and we basically mixed every color combination that I could come up with, and I'm sure we're still missing some. Maybe we already did this one. Yeah, that gets us that really bright green. And then the darker green by adding some blue. So first mixing the green and the yellow and getting your bright, then mixing in a dot of blue gives you your darker green. See, as I said, you could play, we didn't have that color yet. So yellow and cascade green, add a little blue, and you get your darker green. So there's not too many colors. The red isn't, it's the reddish brown, so it's not a pure red. And so a lot of your tones are going to be a little bit more muted with the red, but that's all right. I think it's a fun box. I'm excited to make some art with it. We'll see what we can do with this. Let's go get creative. this is what I made with this month's Sketchbox. Overall, really happy with the supplies that came in this month's box. It was a fun box to play with. I loved swatching out the colors. Just really great supplies. My favorite, of course, is the marker and the Daniel Smith watercolors. However, I didn't use well, I guess I kind of used everything. But overall, my favorites are the paints and the Faber Castell Albrecht Dürer watercolor marker. My least favorite is the Ecoline, just because it kind of is more staining, in fact, on my hands as well. I'm excited to play around more with these markers, as well as Daniel Smith paints are just one of my already favorite paints. So this paper, I'm realizing, bleeds a lot. Like, this is why I have green in the face, because it's not that this surface was wet. It is really because it's 100% cotton paper, but for whatever reason, it doesn't stay, the paint doesn't stay put. So even if there's a dry space next to it, it runs into the next fiber or whatever. So that's a little bit frustrating. So I'm really not happy with this paper, but I have 2 packs of it, so I will try to use it up. Way to go, Sketchbox, for another great box. I hope next month will be more of the same. Yeah, so on this box, it is really hard for me to be unbiased because I really do like all the supplies. The Princeton Aqua Elite works just like the size 8 that I received in a past box. The markers work, or this marker works just as well as the last 2 I had received in an Art Snacks. Everything but these 2 supplies, you know, these supplies here, I'm very biased. I just think they are great supplies. And so had it been any box that included these, I would be really happy with it. I do like these Neopico Line 3 pens, and I look forward to working more with them. I barely used some around the eyes, and in fact, I got a little dark. However, they're nice. So this is another one that you have to keep horizontal. So I will have to see about that. But Ecoline, I'm not really thrilled with, but great that Sketchbox included it, because that kind of gave us our primaries and we could mix almost, you know, our purples, our greens, our oranges from flesh tones with having that extra red in here. So even though it wasn't a great supply, it worked really well with the other supplies in this box. So I have nothing bad to say about this, and that's one of the reasons I subscribed to this box, was they just keep sending out some really great boxes. So I look forward to June's box and continuing having fun with this art. Still great box. You cannot complain when you get Daniel Smith paints in an art box. So thank you for watching, and thank you for 100 subscribers. I really appreciate it. I appreciate every one of you. Thanks for watching. I'm Ari. This is Shamelessly Creative. I hope you'll go get creative. Bye.